go live date didn't change on when these guys could talk about it, such as this company here. And not only talk about it, when they could show the console. I mean, this thing is, these guys have had enough time to animate it and showcase it moving, and that's a fucking dope charger case, by the way. I want to give my thoughts on how the console looks, how insane it is that Nintendo hasn't made a comment or followed up to this, and go from there. So as far as the console, it looks like a Switch. It looks like a Nintendo. This, you can't really get a sense right now. I mean, it looks like the Joy Cons kind of lock in, which is really nice. They almost seem to have like a magnetic property to them. They look a lot cleaner. I mean, the button interface looks really similar. You got a second button there underneath the what used to be the home button, and probably still is. So the console pretty much looks the same, other than a larger screen. I'm sure it's not an OLED screen. This has some grips on there. It's hard to tell what's the actual accessories and what's not. I'm assuming the new Switch is black and colored. That'd be really fucking cool if it's like black and blue like that. It's a Nintendo Switch, right? For me, Nintendo was always finicky when it comes to marketing these things. It's always a bit strange. They really, their globe is on its own axis. It spins at its own pace. They don't really care how the rest of the world turns. I imagine there's definitely some sort of scramble happening, but in reality, this is generating a lot of hype. It's also kind of deflating hype. There's a scale here of deflation, chat, and interest. And like Nintendo's a public company, and they have a marketing team, and they would have been laying out this messaging and for a long time. Like, how do we roll out this brand new console, which is going to be this huge moneymaker? And that console has to be in accordance with games and with the hardware functioning properly and the software functioning properly and the patents such as, Dolby, Bluetooth, all this other shit that goes into making the console actually run and work. So I find it peculiar that, again, everybody and their mother, brother, and uncle seems to know about the Nintendo Switch 2, but not from the mouth of Nintendo. It looks great. Something I was thinking about is like, what could the launch title be? Is it gonna? I mean, Metroid Prime 4, a new 3D Mario, right? I've been kind of avoiding the leaks until it's gotten to the point where like I can't avoid them anymore. They're everywhere. I can't stay away from these, and it's fascinating. But why would they put off announcing this console? I thought we were going to get something in October or November around the holidays to start generating hype. It would have made sense for them to announce it in October, so a lot of people who are following this sort of thing, that keep up with gaming news or electronics, the electronics market, would have not went and then bought a new console around Black Friday holiday season, right? They would have been, we're going to wait for the Nintendo Switch 2. But there's also the fact that they don't want to shoot off their own foot. They got Nintendo Switch Lite, the Nintendo Switch, the bundles, the OLED. They want to sell as many units as of those consoles and those SKUs as possible, right? So it's a weird marketing approach, but it's shocking that they haven't at least announced something or confirmed, other than the fact that I think the president of Nintendo said, "Hey, this thing's coming and it's going to be backwards compatible," which is great. Great. I don't want to have to get rid of all my other games, but it's strange we don't have anything. So they're going to have to capitalize on this, and when they do that, they're going to also show games. They're going to show the UI. Nintendo games don't usually leak. There's rumors and there's conversations, and usually the leaks might be like the day before the direct, but we don't know if there is another 3D Mario. There's rumors of a new Mario Kart. All these things that would be a system seller, a system launcher, and if development needs to be, I would imagine development might be delayed on that, which would maybe prevent. I don't know why it would prevent them from at least showing it with lungs, breathing and inhaling and exhaling them. You know what I mean? Like, you could show us work in progress alpha beta game footage from this new system launcher. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, I find it fascinating. The leaks are getting too real and too accurate to the point where an official company just says, "We don't give a fuck. We we don't care. We're gonna put this thing on our website and loop this and just loop it." And now everybody, I mean, it's kind of hats off to hats off to the Human Things Inc. or whoever the fuck they are. They what a marketing ploy. Like everyone is talking about this company. Every single video gaming outlet on the planet is now using their name. Right? Like I've never heard of them, and I have their website pulled up because of this leak. And honestly, their shit looks dope. I think it looks really great. And I need to go down the deep dive and jump down Alice's rabbit hole to see who else is talking about this thing. What else is out there? What do we have as far as leaks? Because I really have been trying to avoid it and wait for that official announcement. And I'm not going to spoil things that really could take away my surprise. This is one of the rare instances where I'm not like, I don't really give a shit what the console looks like to an extent. Right? Like, I think we all figured it, especially considering the massive success of the Nintendo Switch, which just surpassed units sold of the PlayStation 2 recently, which is fucking crazy, man. they're not gonna deviate, right? Like it ain't broke. That's for sure. All right, let's just say that. So I knew it was going to be a tablet. I think we all did. We knew it was going to have backwards compatibility. We knew it wasn't going to be the Steam Deck. We knew it wasn't going to be anything close to what Sony and Xbox is doing. Never, more than ever before, are the major console players operating in a lane of their own. Like Xbox is claiming that. Like that's their whole message. We do our own thing. Every Xbox is everywhere. Everything is Xbox. Sony is still doing what they've always been doing, except now they ebb and flow. They're doing something more obtuse because they were up top so long. That's another conversation for another day. And Nintendo, like I said, they're on their own fucking axis, man. They have their own atmosphere. They don't breathe in the same oxygen that we do. They are doing their own thing. But this is strange. This is one of the weirder whimpering ways to reveal your brand new console. Anyway, thought it was fascinating. Going to be following it. I mean, everybody has been covering this story. And I feel like we're all thinking the same thing at this point. What the fuck is going on with Nintendo? Second thing I wanted to talk about today, I thought it would be kind of fun to go through Rolling Stone's 50 greatest video games of all time. And what the fuck that means. From Super Mario to Grand Theft Auto, these are the titles that have defined the culture. This is by Shira Inbar. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. At Rolling Stone, just published on Wednesday, January 6th, 2025. I'm going to just go through this. There was a time when a great video game just needed to be fun in the days before 4K screens and season passes. Here. It was all that mattered. It didn't matter if the design was janky, if you could finish the whole thing in one sitting, and frankly, it was too hard to play. I don't need to read all this. So what I'm really interested about, spoiler, is how did they go about making a top 50 games list? Is it like, whenever I think about the best games of all time, is it, and let's say it is 50, like the best 50 games, is it those 50 games that I would want to play right now? Like if I'm going to the island, I'm going to the deserted island, I got 50 games, right? I'm going into underground Fallout quarantine because of the nukes. I gotta bring 50 video games. Which is it which games I would want to play right now, right? That hold the test of time? Or is it the games that changed everything? Is it the needle movers? Is it the ceiling smashers, right? Is it the games like Pong and the games like the original Legend of Zelda on the NES, right? Games that I wouldn't really want to pick up and play right now. I mean, shout out to Pong. Pong's a great game, and so is the original Zelda. But like, I would rather maybe play Brick Breaker, Wii Sports instead of Pong, right? Maybe I would want to play Link to the Past. I certainly would, instead of the original Zelda. So I'm always curious when people make these kinds of lists because there's so much subjectivity. I mean, it's all subjective, but there are some things that are not subjective, such as how many units a game might sell, right? Was it a launch title? And did it, like Super Mario 64, defined an era? It launched with the first 3D console of all time, right? It invented analog controls, at least in the mainstream sense, right? You have games like Counter-Strike and Doom and Quake, these that brought first-person shooter. Like, you have these games. The point I'm getting at is you have these games that kind of define the genre or that break barriers. Like, they even mentioned Grand Theft Auto there, the most popular fucking anything of all time, right? It's sold more things than the Bible, more than any film, more than any book, any album. So I'm really curious how they look at that. For me, I always look at it a little both ways. There's some games I don't really ever need to pick up again, and like I still love hearing their music, love looking at their key art, their concepts, watching people play them because Lord knows I won't. But like I don't want to play them anymore. But they matter and they're important. And then there's the games that doesn't matter when they came out, they still hold up. You think of like a Mrs. Pac-Man, a Galaga, a lot of those Bandai, a lot of those Namco games, those arcade games. A lot of games from those 80s, 90s era are just so fucking perfect because they will last forever. Sometimes it can be a little obtuse with controls or with saving and some menu things. I think that's the only I think some of the UX is the only thing that could be improved with because of time. But those games are as close to perfect as you get when you think of like some old Castlevania games, Mega Man games, all the Super Mario games. Maybe not two. The 16 and 8-bit era are pretty perfect. So it's interesting to see where they're going to go with this. I'm excited to dive into it. I saw that the 50th game was, and it really leads me to think that it's going to be more about impact. So let's jump on and see. Let's see how much heat Rolling Stone can get on here. I was going to try to get Ficky Boy up in the chat as well. I think he's busy cooking dinner. I think he's aproned up. I don't think he's going to be able to join us. Number 50. Oh, wait, editor's note. A note from I don't know if it's from Shira or not. The platforms listed for each game are the platforms for which they are available now and may have changed since they were first released. Cool. So maybe all the games on here you can actually play them. They're not going to have like fucking what's that dragon game? Dragon's Lair. Like some of these games you can play easily. You can pay for them. Number 50, Animal Crossing New Horizons 2020, the pandemic game. What a great way to start this game out. I've never personally sat down and like dedicated a lot of hours to the Animal Crossing games, but they've always been near and dear to my heart, namely from the soundtrack, right? I mean, from the days of it might have been Smash Brawl and it was certainly Smash Wii U, but Smash Brothers in general to pivot is a game that has brought a lot of things into my life that I wouldn't have normally picked up and played. So, Fire Emblem, Animal Crossing, Punch Out, all these games, Metal Gear. And usually you learn about them through the trophies, the characters, and the music. Animal Crossing never seemed like my kind of game, but the melancholic, almost instant nostalgia-inducing music that those games have, especially in like City Folk and New Leaf, some of the older ones, it's beautiful. So it's always a game that's been close to my heart. I got this was one of the gifts I got my partner for her recent birthday last March in 2024. I was like, hey, you've never really played this game. You don't really play video games anymore. Play Animal Crossing, and she loves it. She's like 200 hours in. This is a game I think that I definitely put on here for impact. I already see COVID-19 here. This game came out, I think, the month the world went on lockdown. I mean, it was the perfect kind of game where every day you can come in and check in with your positive, cute animals on the island. Cool. Great pick. It's iconic. I think that makes a lot of sense. 49 Hades. I did not expect that. I didn't expect that. Not because the game's not good, but like you start off with a franchise that everybody almost on the planet knows, unless they've never seen a video game system in their life. And then you have a game that most people have probably not heard of, which is a crime. Hades is fucking amazing. It's a roguelike. I've never played it. I wonder if Fick's played it. This is why we need Fick here. I might just go down to like the top 25 today. I don't know if I want to do the bottom. I might go from 50 to like 26 is what I'm saying. Because there's going to be a lot of games here that I haven't played. See, Ryan, guys, he's a gamer. I'm like a fake gamer. I'm like a wannabe video game historian. Ryan has played everything. He's just played everything, right? I need to try out Hades. I remember Hades kind of took the world by storm. I remember Andy Cortez, Kind of Funny. I think it might have been his game of the year in 2020, which is awesome. 48. Castlevania. Symphony of the motherfucking Night. Perfect pick. See, to me, this is a perfect pick. This game this and Super Metroid, which better be on this fucking list, is a part of what brought that craze of the Metroidvania into the light. PlayStation 1. Sega Saturn, shout out. Who the fuck's buying this game for a Sega Saturn? That's fucking awesome. The music, the level design. I mean, to me, if you've never played a Castlevania game and you're looking where to start, like this is where you do it, man. Like this is where you get into what Castlevania is. Look how amazing. Look at the art. Look how incredible it is. Shout out to Jorno. Look how incredible the key art is with Alucard, baby. Anybody who like needs to like get into this game and they're scared and daunted to try like a retro game, God, I'm old. Maybe check out season 1, a little bit of season 2 of the anime on Netflix for Castlevania. It's only like a couple hours of your time. It's pretty short. Beautiful game. Okay, yeah, we're staying iconic. Holy shit, number 47, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. It's interesting that it says just Super Nintendo because they're not counting Virtual Console and emulation. I mean, this game can be played on the Nintendo Switch, the Wii U, on the PC. You know what I mean? This, to me, is 2D Zelda. This, to me... man, how this game is so special. It's interesting how, like, when you think of the first few Zelda games as they're finding their footing, like, the NES one was just, like, a miracle that it did so much. It was groundbreaking. It opened the world, opened the floodgates to what an open kind of top-down strategic action game could be, what an adventure game could be. You know, the game opens and it's just, you're free to go anywhere. You have to rely on instruction manuals, and you can do dungeons in different orders, and it was brilliant. And then A Link in the second game that followed was like a side scroller, very experimental, and it's great in its own right, but they really brought it back to formula. Spider-Man shout out with Link to the Past. Link to the Past is one of those games where it was almost like everybody showed up to slam dunk. Everybody was an MVP. This game really understood its gaming loop. You go and you find a dungeon, you get the item to the dungeon, you beat the dungeon boss, you leave with the item you had in the dungeon, you carry it on into your adventure, you're trying to rescue the princess, rinse and repeat. It's fun. And while the 2D top-down Zelda games were often, restricted to the handheld systems, and didn't always get the mainstream light of day, right? Because I was going to say that Link to the Past was extremely influential to the rest of the Zelda series, but the Zelda series also split into 3D action games from another little 1998 game. Link to the Past still influenced the gameplay loop for so many things. Like I even think of like the Batman games. You think it like a game where you have collectibles, you're going from place to place, you're talking to different characters. Like when I think of what a video game could be in the 90s, right? Like this would be like a top 10 video game of the 1990s to me, right? Really wild to see them come out with this heat. Great list so far. League of Legends. I'm not going to talk too much about this one because I've never played it, but it's like obviously this is here. Like World of Warcraft, League of Legends, and some of these MOBAs, they're going to have to be here. Some of these MMOs. This game is gargantuan. The population, or the number of people that play this game could be a population for a major nation, for a country. I mean, like, it's a hit. It's kind of hard to avoid this game. It's hard, not to sound negative. It's hard to not have heard of this game, right, and be familiar with it. I personally have never tried it, or never played it. Tried and played combined. I'd love to give it a shot. And try it. Didn't know it was related to Arcane. So it's interesting how so far, other than Hades is a wild card. I kind of like the framework they're doing here. So it's like, hey, like this is the bottom 10 of the top 50. Still extremely relevant, impactful games. Like, and we got interesting picks here. We got a recent game that everybody's kind of played with a simple gameplay loop, right? That had an impact on culture. You have a niche indie darling. You have an iconic genre-defying game, right? That's a retro game. At this point it's retro. Big component of the Metroidvania, right? An iconic Zelda game, the 2D Zelda game on the Super Nintendo, and then you go into League of Legends. I mean, really, really iconic in the 40s, and it's interesting kind of the strategy we're looking at here, of the different genres, the different platforms in which these are played on, the different audiences this speaks to, from casual to hardcore, from recent to retro. Fucking Rolling Stone over here, dude. They got the heat, dude. They're cooking. They're cooking over at Rolling Stone. Number 45, and I bet this one got them a lot of flack. Fortnite. I'm just thinking. I'm just digesting this one. I don't disagree with this pick. I actually like this placement. If you're going to put Fortnite in the top 50, I would want it to be in the bottom 10. Air quotes, in the bottom 10. We don't give this game enough credit for what it's done. I mean, like, Epic Games is on the back of Fortnite. Fortnite has lived in so many different ways, so many different versions. The way in which they've also, I mean, now I think people, somewhat rightfully so, think of it kind of as a meme game. Like, it's just a game where everything exists in it. It's a game for people that pick their nose and can't use the restroom on their own. And what I mean by that is people who aren't totally trained, for babies. I'm not insulting handicapped people. I swear to God. I just, people shit on this game for being kind of childish, and I don't agree with that. I think Fortnite, to me, the fact that it was free to play, the fact that it was really led on community feedback, the fact that it is so successful, if Animal Crossing New Horizons can be in there, then Fortnite can be in there. And the gameplay loop is pretty fun. It's simple, it's straightforward, it can be competitive. It changed in terms of recent pop culture, right? Like, I had that Pokemon Go effect where, like, everybody was playing it, everybody knew about it. It really took over for a while. But I think, like, the long-lasting impact, other than the way it's managed to tie in so many franchises, and, you know, it changed the way games can be successful. The way it launched a corporation. I mean, the Epic Game Store on PC exists because of this. It's just, I don't think we can really understate. I don't know if perhaps she goes into that. I mean, 9 billion. I think this is talking about how this game is, like, up there with, like, a Grand Theft Auto in terms of throwing a dart right into the bullseye pop culture. But in terms of what it did for the industry, I think that earns it at least a slot in the top 100. It wouldn't be in my personal top 50 unless we were really trying to think of, like, how did the needle move in different ways. And I still, for me, my top 50 is going to, like I said, a combination of what are the games I want to play today, and all of those games had to have completely changed things. This game is 50% of that criteria. Number 44, Elden Ring. One of my favorite games of all time, personally. Wow. I'm really surprised. This is a crazy 40 through 50, man. This game is only a couple years old. That's crazy. A lot of these games are recent. 2022, 2017. I mean, games have been around fucking since the 70s, in my opinion. I mean, a little earlier than that. 2009. So there's a few that are, okay, it's about 50-50. It feels newer because these games are just so new that they carry some weight as far as recency. I mean, Elden Ring is huge. I really sincerely hope that Dark Souls and, my personal pick would be Bloodborne, but if we're making a top 50s list, then yeah, I think you put Dark Souls on there, and that would maybe go in the top 10. Dark Souls arguably saved gaming, and I'm going to save that for when this makes the list. Fucking hope to God they were smart enough to put it on the list, or when it doesn't, and and hopefully we'll have Ficky Boy by then, and we can rant about its inclusion or exclusion, so to speak. But anyway, I think it's fascinating that they put this in here. One of the best games ever made. I don't want to talk about a recent game too much. Wow, these 40s are unbelievable. Celeste, another indie darling. So, like, Hades and Celeste both being in the 40s range. Seeing these independent games makes me hopeful that we will see Undertale here. One of my personal favorite games. Like, when I think of the indie games that have just been monumental in the last 10 years, And not all of these I think should be in the top 50, but I think of like Rocket League, I think of Cuphead, I think of Undertale, I think of Shovel Knight, of Hollow Knight. Um, you know, I think like when I think Undertale should be in the top 50, but I don't know, man. This is tricky. It's tricky. Like Celeste is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful experience of a game. I think now I'm just like my brain is fried thinking of all these independent games. I'm thinking of, Play Dead's Inside, even Limbo, but you think of the Outer Worlds, and it's just when it comes to the top 50, I think it needs to be about what's that gameplay loop, what's the execution, what's the impact, what's the artistry. I mean, I off stream I kind of want to dive into this article and see like what formulated this like the rationale, behind how they. I would have loved to have been a fly on that wall for however they constructed this. It's really fascinating. So, number 42, Batman Arkham City, man. Arkham City. The moon landing moment for licensed games, for superhero games especially. I mean, like, to me, like, that is the superhero game. Like, we're living in the era where, like, we get Spider-Man, we get Spider-Man 2, right? Like, we get these refined versions of it. This was the game, man. This was the game. I mean, we could talk all day about. I literally mentioned this, I think, with Link to the Past, but we can talk all day about how the combat system was. I mean, everybody was copying, pasting that beat 'em up style combat system. And like what this did for superheroes in general, the way it sold licensed products, and kind of was a resurgence for that. I mean, like, right? You look forward to now with games like Indiana Jones, Harry Potter, or whatever it is, and especially like I said, Spider-Man. Those are on the shoulders of a licensed game like Batman Arkham City, but the care that went into it, and the fact this game is just cool, man. I don't care who you are. Again, we need Ficky Boy here. I think he's a bit of a Batman hater. This game was fucking cool. This is a game that I didn't even really grow up with the Batman animated series. This was kind of my intro into that, and just the fact that they had all the voice talent and remarkable storytelling, and it was just such a fun, atmospheric game. I mean, this game was monumental, right? A lot of the games that are in the 40s here, the thing you can't deny about any of them, other than like the fact that a couple of them are indie darlings, right? And those have their own kind of communities. These games were bowling balls rolling into us pins. Like it knocked things over. It shattered things. And like I think it's cool that like we can still have like a Hades and a Celeste in here, because like if you play games and you've played a game like Hades or a game like Celeste, you're like, yeah, these guys know what the fuck they're talking about. I haven't played either of those games, but a lot of people close to me have. And I think Fick played this. Again, it'll be fun to walk through this with him. But it's really cool to see how they could have like a Symphony of the Night, a Batman Arkham City, like a Link to the Past. These games that were shattering to the pop culture in a good way and were influential and just fucking fun. I feel like if I picked up Arkham City today, I would have a blast playing this game. Hell yeah. Unbelievable. 41, Metroid Prime. This game rocks, man. This was the game. My experience with Metroid. That's just gonna be my reaction to all of them. Good game. This game rocks. Just every single one. This is a game that I genuinely just could not get into for years, and it pissed me off because it's so cool. It's undeniably cool. Again, this is another one of those games I discovered through my love and history with the Super Smash Brothers series, which better be on here. And I always wanted to. I want to play Samus's game, and I don't know if it was the tank controls or the scanning system or just my dumb brain, especially as a kid, which is the mostly when I was attempting to play this game. I was at a young age, and I always wanted to get into this, and I couldn't really make it past the first level for some reason. And when Nintendo gracefully and graciously released the remaster a year or two ago, I was like, it's time. And I didn't finish the game. There's just too many games, and there's just too much life to live outside of all the too many games. It didn't compel me enough to finish it, but that has nothing to do with the game. Like the music, the level design, like um, there's really I could go all day about how much I love this and the fact that like the studio that made it. Why am I blanking on their name right now? Fucking. Do I really have COVID brain right now? The fact that the studio that made this game was able to take Super Metroid and the formula of what made Metroid work. And by the way, great video on YouTube by the account Nerel. Nerel. He has a great video on what makes Metroid work. He talks about kind of the combat system, the item progression, and the way you level up with different abilities, and the atmosphere, etc., etc. They took those components and put it into 3D, and they didn't just put it into 3D. They made it a first-person shooter on the GameCube, dude. That's it's gonna drive me nuts if I don't look up. So retro. I was literally thinking retro. I almost said rare. I literally lived in Austin, Texas, not too far from their offices. Retro Studios is that kind of like what they've done with Donkey Kong and what they've done with Metroid Prime, and especially with Metroid Prime. They're like taking these franchises that I have a foot in the grave, and they're just giving them the juice. They're giving them the roids, dude. This game is so fucking cool. It's such a unique game, and I think it's really cool. Like when I scroll through this top 40, again, like the mascots we're seeing here, from like the Animal Crossing characters to Alucard to League of Legends to Link and Zelda, you know, it's like wow, they're picking some heaters, and then they're picking some games that are just remarkable as far as being recent. Like if this is what 40 through 50 looks like we're gonna have a great list. Plain and simple. God. That's all I really got to say about Metroid Prime. Ah, beautiful game. Chrono Trigger. I was wondering if they were going to put these games on here. What I love about these games, and I saw that they just mentioned it actually. Yeah. Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama illustrated pretty much, everything for the game, notably the character designs. It's a game that you see that and you just feel the 90s. They seep into you, and you wouldn't know it, but like the game, just everything about it, from like, it's one of the best opening title screens of all time, by the way. I almost want to go back through this list once I've seen it all and like give the special shout outs as to why I would put them on here. Like Chrono Trigger gets an award and a badge, like if we were to give achievements to these different entries for best opening title screen ever, and just one of the best soundtracks of all time. I'm gonna call it here for this. The reason I wanted to stream mostly is to react to whatever the fuck's going on with Nintendo, and then this list is fascinating to me. But I really want to be able to go through it with Ryan, because like some of these games I haven't played, or I haven't played in a while, and I want to be able to go back and forth. But I think he's lost in the sauce. I think yeah. How's my stream doing right now, by the way? I think we're frozen. All right. So I got to figure that out. I'm sure the audio's fine, but we were dropping frames. We were dropping frames pretty hard for some reason. I don't know why. I got an error message. We'll figure that shit out, man. We will figure that shit out. All right. I think that's it for now. I want to learn more about the Nintendo Switch, man. It's crazy, these leaks. The Verge. Actually, do we have anybody good? I like Kotaku. Jay Peters over at The Verge. New day, new Nintendo Switch 2 leaks. Nintendo is getting ever closer to its April 2025 deadline. Why? Interesting. Why April 2025? Which is, by the way, my birthday. Quite happy about that. I'm sorry, I'm just checking the stream, guys. I'm wondering why it's so laggy. while we drop in frames. Maybe I can make the video. Let me fuck with the video a bit. Video. I could probably make you less. There we go. Oh shit. What did I do, dude? Interesting. Why do we look like that? Is that better, chat? Is that better, chat? Got my big ass microphone. Alright. That should be fine then. I don't love 720p, but alright, let's see what we got here. New day, new Nintendo Switch 2 leaks. Nintendo is getting ever closer to its April 2025 deadline to reveal its Switch successor. But thanks to renders from OnLeaks and 91 Mobiles, we may now have an even better idea of what the new console might look like. I'm always terrible at reading on stream, like reading on, even at like in various like meetings I'm on, like when I'm from like a Zoom meeting, if I have to like type or read, I'm like, I don't do well with it. I don't know why. I'm usually great at reading in public. If you've been following our coverage of other Switch 2 leaks, we haven't. These renders shouldn't look too surprising. Let's let these play. The orange and the blue are pretty dope. It looks like looks like a fucking Switch, man. I don't know what to tell you. The shoulder buttons are interesting. We got a really big trigger, over the top triggers, and then you have little bumpers for the. That's odd, isn't it? So you got the interact buttons for the start buttons. You got the capture button, whatever that button is, home button. The Joy-Cons almost look kind of weird, like the sticks. They look. I wish they were bigger, man. I fucking hate Joy-Cons. Just gonna say it. I fucking hate Joy-Cons. I think the Nintendo Switch should release with a Pro Controller, and that these just shouldn't. It's cool that they can come off. Like, it's cool when you have like there's been many times when I've been on an airplane or I've been with some friends and been like, oh, we don't either have an extra controller, or I couldn't have packed or brought an extra controller, and we got this little fucking thing here. Like, it's better than nothing, right? It's enabled us to play when we otherwise would not have been able to do multiplayer. But I fuck Joy-Cons. Really clean look. Bummer that we're still going with the buttons. I wish we could just get a D-pad variant. To have a Nintendo console not have a D-pad. Again, this looks great. It looks like the Nintendo Switch. I'm going to take the opportunity. I am somebody who likes to come out a bit. I like to shit on things. I like to shit on things, Eli. All right, yeah. It looks like a Switch, man. What do you want from me? It's got a big ass stand in the back. What is that? Anyway. The screen won't be 8.4 inches. Okay. Interesting. So, it'll be bigger, 8.4 inch screen. Reports that would most likely be an OLED panel. That'd be so nice, man. I was curious. I was thinking it was going to be LCD or LED. Nintendo doesn't give a fuck about tech. They give a fuck about games. They just want you to play them on their systems. It's so weird how the tale of two cities when it comes to Nintendo consoles, where they are super backwards and very much not what anyone is doing, and that is to their benefit and to their detriment. Because on the other end, the other city, in this two-city tale, is that they move the needle. Like, whether it's motion gaming, whether it's adding sticks to controllers and shoulder buttons, whether it's hybrid gaming in general, whether it's handheld in general and touchscreen in general. Like, they're always taking risks. They fucking put it all on black, man. They don't give a fuck. They'll eat shit, Wii U, and own when they eat shit. Iwata, hero. Like, I think it's crazy that they don't just make... They have the money to make consoles that could allow me to actually have dedicated servers, have dedicated voice chats and messages within my actual console, and not have to just FaceTime or actually call my friends every time I want to play a game of Super Smash Brothers that fucking lags constantly, right? So it's like, I wish the game just felt like it was from this century and had more user friendliness. Like I wish it, yeah, I wish it was in 4K. Dude, I would pay $450 to be able to play my games, my Nintendo games, to look like Sony games. If Mario Odyssey could look like Astrobot, I would pay a fuck ton of money for it. People already are paying money for it with their PCs, and that's illegal. Nintendo really wants to stop fucking illegal rendering and emulation and all, and make a better console, man. Graphically, but that's neither here nor there. The render shows at the top of the Switch 2 will feature a power button, that's good, a volume rocker, 3.5mm headphone jack. Hope it comes with Bluetooth at launch this time. It only took us 5 years last time. A game card slot, woohoo, and new for the Switch 2, a USB-C port. It's not new, you fucking idiots. Maybe they mean like new as in like what we've seen on the renders so far, like the leaks so far, but my day one, March 3rd, 2017 Nintendo Switch has a USB-C. Nintendo Switch is what introduced me to USB-C. They were on USB-C Island before anybody else was on USB-C Island, man. Like, I remember like bragging about how fast that fucking thing charged stuff. Even it was shocking in 2017. Also says there also seems to be a sensor of sorts, and they speculate that this might be an ambient light sensor or something else. I mean, that would make sense. These renders have also U-shaped kit stand appears. As for the Joy-Cons, the renders show the mysterious second new button on the right Joy-Con. Yeah, I noticed that. However, they say the new button is above the home button. Other leaks have included the new button below it. The Joy-Cons and the renders have the large buttons in the back that are apparently used to detach controllers. Console, which apparently attached magnetically. That'd be a nice addition. Magnetic. I'm just trying to make sense of these buttons. So this is the L1 button. I know they don't call it L1, but whatever. This is the L2 button, and then we got that there to detach. That's good, because, I mean, it's a little janky. One of my hopes for a Nintendo Switch 2, and again, the Switch, it's funny, because, like, the Switch was leaps and bounds more simple than the Wii U, man. Like, I am a Nintendo apologist diehard, or not apologist, but I had that Wii U, and I still just remember feeling how frustrating it was to navigate the console, but even today, Nintendo still has entities. Like, think of the new Mario Party, which is a pretty good Mario Party game. It's kind of janky in the way you navigate through the menus and navigate through the game, you know, in a way. Like, I'm all for having personality and for being unique. I mean, think of like the Nintendo Wii menus and stuff, but it's like you want to get into it quickly. You want to be able to do what you're trying to do. One of my biggest problems, tangent, is how difficult it is to just bring in new controllers on the Nintendo Switch. And I know you can just Joy-Con it, USB-C it. It's not like it's impossible. There's just, and a lot of consoles can sometimes struggle with this, but like, this is a multiplayer machine, and I always baffles me, like, having to just like fucking jam buttons every time I want to replay these games, and I don't know. My right Joy-Con on my current Switch doesn't even work anymore, by the way. It doesn't even work. It's fucking dead, dude. Okay. Yeah, magnetically, that's interesting. The renders also show an interesting color scheme for the Joy-Cons. Yeah, I noticed that. Mostly black, but I have color accents, light blue on the left one and orange on the right. Under the stick pads and on the bumped part of the controllers. Yeah, I really did love that. Why is Nintendo not showing us this thing? I mean, we can see it. There it is. It's real. My birthday present for me, by the way. This is gonna be my birthday gift of 2025. 30th birthday, by the way. Blizzard leaks. Can you keep a secret? Yeah, this is what popped up, by the way, on these guys' website. This is the image that popped up. Can you keep a secret? We can't. Be the first to know about our newest products, Kickstarters, deals, and more. These guys are riding. I commend these motherfuckers, dude. It's gonna be a hell of a lawsuit for you, but I commend you. And it's not, again, this is not the Nintendo Switch 2. This is the Switch OLED. Man. Peripheral manufacturer Genki sure is making the most of the situation. Yeah, they definitely are. They're brilliant. Last few weeks have been who wrote this? This is by Ollie Welsh, Polygon Today. A few hours ago, actually. The last few weeks have been a blizzard of leaks, including apparent photos of final hardware. The dam is broken to the extent that peripherals manufacturer Genki, which claims to have obtained a real Switch 2 through back channels. What? Shit's on the black market? What? The Switch 2's hit the black market. Has thrown caution to the wind and shown a mock-up of the console at CES. They even have a detailed animation. Yeah. Throughout most of the last year, it was business as usual in leak land. Alright, this isn't. This holiday season, I couldn't resist sharing this gift with you all. Some might call it an early reveal, but I call it the best kept secret of the year. Huh. It's coming, guys. It's fucking imminent. It is imminent. This game is coming. Or this game console is coming. Today's massive Switch 2 leak. This is from Jason Evangelo. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Senior contributor over at Forbes. Says today's massive Switch 2 leak reveals dimensions and screen size. Switch 2 leaks are being unleashed with the force of a fire hose. But at this point, again, I love the metaphors. Shit's coming. You got me over here, just like the shit's out of the bag. Shit's out. This time around the leak, 91 Mobiles. We keep hearing about these guys. Who is 91 Mobiles? Who the fuck are these guys, man? Nintendo. This is by Shrey. Man, you're in trouble. Shrey. Nah, you're alright. The new handheld is tipped to be larger than the current generation Switch, 8.4 inches. Alright, cool. I just want it, man. I don't. God, these are sick. Again, I hate Joy-Cons suck, but this is fucking. They made them as cool as they possibly could with this render, even though these are so tiny, man. The sticks, so tiny. Fuck me, man. The home button's on top in this one. Capture button down below. Those buttons look better than the other ones, but you just, again, these are tiny things that fit in your hand. About that big. And I have small hands and they feel small to me. God, those Donald Trump hands. Tiny. Alright. Well, I don't know. I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna come back. I want to stream something. I don't know what I want to stream, but we're gonna stream some or another. I shall return.